Yes.
Back to the grind.
And we are live, sir. All
I'm
right.
still on vacation, though. I'm still on
Welcome
vacation.
to you. Oh, man. Whatever, man. As I before I was rudely interrupted, no, just joking. Welcome
Whatever.
to Unique Perspectives, Love Talk Radio. To wherever you are in the world, we say hello. As you guys can see, we are here with the man that's back on the scene. Of course, yours truly, Mr. Charles Dixon, and then we have Mr. Adam Ford. How was your time away, sir?
It was good. It was good. Much needed. Definitely needed. Definitely needed to get away. Always want to get away. Then it's always good to come back home. But we had a good time. It was nice. I enjoy going on vacation. I do. It's cool. It's just get out there and see the world. You know what I'm saying? Beyond the U.S. of A, as you will. And get out there and see what other countries have to offer, especially coastal countries, especially islands. Yes, the Caribbean. Yes. Get out there, baby.
Look, and I could only wonder what people did. What did someone did as soon as they got out there to the place where they both had to go to dinner with him and their wife? And I'm almost sure they were like, "Well, who do we have here? Excuse me, this is honey. Tell them you are the one." And they was like, "This is the one. We're gonna bring out the crab legs, lobster, shrimp, steak, all of this for the one."
I mean, bring it on. That's what I'm saying. Bring it on. No, all right, bring it on, man. But you know what's funny? Don't say this and we can move on. You know what the best part of the vacation is the fact that a lot of the countries that we go to are Spanish-speaking countries. And so my wife will sit there and have a conversation with them and get the inside track on some of the stuff that's going on.
So it works, you mean?
Oh, it works.
So she can have so it's because she's so fluid with it, everything works perfectly.
I mean, because Spanish is her first language. Yeah, that's her first language. What are you talking about? So fluent.
That's what's up, man.
Point, man.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, man. But it's nice. It's not, but here's the thing, though, too, that I wanted to say, and it was something I realized yesterday. Going to some of these other countries definitely puts in perspective where we live and what we take for granted on an everyday basis. But some of these countries have some of the nicest people that you will ever run into. Some of the dearest people that you will ever come into contact with. They are so nice, man. They really are. And it's not just because we're at a resort and they're getting paid to be nice, but they're genuinely nice people. It's real.
Yes. All right. And good evening to everybody coming on into the room. It's Fine 29, Nola. Shout out to you all. Appreciate you. Much love. All right. So today's topic is dating defined. Basically, it's a breakdown of today's dating culture. As with anything in time, we notice that things have to change. Like we can't always do everything that we do in life the same because sometimes things require updates. To the way we perceive things, it requires changes in how we process things, and specifically, even in the relationship world, sometimes when people are finding themselves entering back into the dating market, heck, depending on your style of doing it, depending on if someone is maybe recently divorced or recently just putting themselves back on the market or what have you, they may be saying, look, I feel a little out of place. I'm not sure what's going on. And worst case scenario is when people find themselves getting into these dating scenarios and finding out by trial and error that they're making some mistakes. That's probably the worst thing. Yeah. To get into this dating world and be lost, which most of us can do, you got your thing and you see some of these nuances and these changes, you're like, wow, and it gets a little crazy. Yeah. So if everybody's prepared and ready, we shall dive on into this. Shout out to Miss Trish Ross. How are you? All right, we will get in to this. Now, of course, I'm going to have some across the board stats that just comes from Google, but some of this stuff, I'll let you know this is my perspective. All right. First and foremost, from my perspective, Today's dating culture first starts with embracing its truth of it not being dating, but rather hooking up. This is my perspective. I think one of the biggest issues that we're having today, and people, quote unquote, trying to get to where they belong and find who's looking for them. Or, one of the famous things people always say, I'm looking for my person, and all those things. But I think we overlook the way that we are dealing when we are meeting these people or hanging out, as you may put it, or connecting. I personally have watched people engage and date and get involved, and heck, even my own self, and put myself in the hat. In the way we deal when you were in that specific place, if that's what you were doing as a person looking for somebody, when you're in that space, sometimes we move a little reckless. We don't move as solid as we need to. And so this is what I mean when I say that. Let me see. So basically, today it seems like what we're doing is, I'm gonna call it the CCS movement on one part. We're complimenting, connecting, sexing. Complimenting, connecting, sexing. The compliment starts on the likes, the posts, connecting in the DM, making the plans, where we're gonna meet. You look nice, I'm trying to see you, blah blah blah. Then you connect. Then if everything jives physically, then the next thing is up. Now, here's one other important thing about this whole concept before I turn it over to you, Adam, is I think nowadays it's very important to understand that dating has gone from being a project where we're discovering commonality, or, oh, let me see this about this person, let me take some time. It's become immediate. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Okay. Most ladies on this call, and I can say this just from a male perspective, but most women on this call can attest to the fact that you've probably been out at an event, you've been, maybe someone had a function over at their place, or heck, sometimes you just might be out at the store doing your own thing. Today's language has changed from how you doing, you look nice, I like to take you out sometime, can we exchange numbers and keep in touch? It's changed from that to now, it's when you meet the person, you talking to them, you're in their face, and what most men will do is the minute they get your number, the first thing they say is, what are you about to do now? See, it's turned from later to immediate. The first thing men will ask the woman, and she might be grocery shopping, and he'd be like, so what are you going to do when you leave in here? Taking my groceries home? But in their mind, the men is like, no, you need to connect. See, the connection point has changed. It's like nowadays, it's immediate, and people need to be aware of that. I know we may get overwhelmed by compliments and, oh, you look nice and all that, but you better understand the lingo that's coming to your ears, because in most times, for an immediate mission that may not jive with somebody's traditional dating habits or expectations, if you will. Now, I have more, sir, but I'll let you go. I'll let you take some of it. Go ahead, Mr. Ford. Tell me what you think of this whole thing.
I mean, okay, so I'll come from the divorcee's perspective. Was initially married for 20 plus years, and then had to get back on the dating scene, not knowing what was out there, not knowing what I was going to encounter. And to be honest with you, I was scared. I was scared. That thing kind of scared me, because you hear so many different stories from so many different people in terms of what their experience has been. You see things up close, and so it makes you very intrepid in terms of being able to step out into that place of meeting new people, in the hopes that the new people that you meet are honest, that they are who they say that they are, that they're not trying to run a scam on you, that they're not trying to be, as we like to say on this show, duplicitous. You know what I'm saying? And so you just don't know what you might get in terms of having to deal with people when you haven't had to date people and find out who these people are for a very long time. And so one of my things was, growing up in the hood, and even being having a military background, I always wanted to be aware of my situation. I always wanted to be conscious of who was around me and what they were doing, and and that type of thing, just to make sure that I'm not caught off guard, just to make sure that I'm not, ambushed, if you will, by certain situations. Because if we're being honest, in a dating situation, that's when you're possibly, vulnerable to attacks. And I'm not trying to take this in a different direction, but I want us just to be aware that when you're around people that you don't know, you kind of have to be aware of what's going on. You can't just go into it blindly thinking everything's going to be okay. You kind of have to be conscious about what your situation is. So my thing is this. If I'm out here and I'm dating and I'm trying to find somebody who I want to be with, I'm going to be careful. I'm definitely going to be careful in terms of dealing with the person, asking questions, allowing them to ask me questions. Not necessarily interrogating the person. No, it's not. I'm not talking about interrogation, but I'm just trying to get to know who I might be possibly interested with. You know what I'm saying? I want to be cautious. I want to be cautious with the person. I'm not, I want to make sure that I'm not, mistreating them and that they're not mistreating me. Again, it's about being aware of your surroundings and also being aware of the person that you're with. And, and that just really being just kind of like taking your time in this whole process. And I think another thing that needs to be known is the fact that our intentions with dating need to be made clear. I think a lot of times what we do is when we date, we don't date with an actual intention. We're kind of just out there, meandering and wandering, if you will, just kind of, shooting where it is that we shoot randomly without really paying attention and being intent in terms of the type of person that we're interested in. We're just kind of out there hoping and praying that something will happen. But I really do believe that you have to be intent in terms of your dating, not just dating randomly, not just dating for the sake of dating, but hopefully dating to be involved in a relationship. And that's not to say that every time you date a person that you're trying to be in a relationship with them. No, the question is, do you want a relationship, and are you dating with that in mind? That's all I'm saying.
No, good stuff. I mean, and this is a good segue, because I was going to go to the reality of kind of like how things begin today. Because I mean, nowadays, more and more connections are happening online as opposed to in person, as we may have historically been used to. Let's just say before the pandemic or before certain changes in life happened, people were more so, hey, how you doing? Get to know you, see you out. I see you hang out this place all the time, whatever. It goes from there. And now it's like everything is initiated online. And let's just be honest. Most of the time we're going out with people who we only have a cell phone on. You don't know where they live. You only got all you have is an app in your phone where an email chain of talking back and forth. You look nice. You look good. Okay, I'm going to meet you. I'm from this kind of family. I'm from this, that. And it's like, if you look at it from that perspective, that's enough to make you say, wow, in itself. Like, wow, really, as you were alluding to earlier as to not really knowing people, that's as vulnerable as it gets to be spending your time and giving yourself to someone where you have minimal recourse to who they are. Like, you don't know where they are, who they are, if they are, let's see, you don't know if, let's see, in most of the times we really don't know who people are until some sort of exposure occurs. Something happens, it's like we find out by default as opposed to people's just their regular admission. Then, like, nowadays, you don't know if people are married. Do they live with someone? You don't know. I mean, heck, if we're going to take it to another level, this is the extreme, but it's a reality nonetheless. is you don't know if people are sick. Sometimes meaning when I say sick, I'm not necessarily meaning someone having a handicap. I'm meaning people are having terminal illness that come from intimacy. You get what I'm saying? So you really don't know what's happening out in the world. People are just dating because they want to be with someone, but they're withholding those truths. And so then you have people that are, heck, the other side of it is, it used to be a things where it seemed like women would say, well, do you have a record? Were you in jail? Heck, nowadays, the men need to know. You got criminal women. Trust me when I tell you, you got women criminals. They got records. You got straight up felony records. That's a whole other day in life. But trust me, we don't even. Once upon a time, you thought it was just, oh, were you ever in jail? And women asked the man. Not no more. You better ask the women too. But it's a whole different ball game that we're looking at out here. And so
No, but the thing of it is, you don't know who these people are. You don't know you don't know them beyond their physical appearance. You don't know them beyond what they tell you. And again, that's why I said at the very beginning, in terms of what I said, the hope is that they are honest. The hope is that they are transparent. But I think all of us can attest to the fact that we have run into people who weren't the most honest people. They didn't disclose all the information. And listen, again, it's not about interrogating the person. It's not about interrogating them. Understand that. But it is about at least making a disclosure of who you are as a person, which will give me enough information to make a decision as to whether or not I want to continue to date you. And I think that's a fair expectation. I think that's a fair expectation in terms of dating somebody who I haven't had an experience with before. Just saying.
I mean, no, that's good stuff. I think honestly, since everything else in life has changed centered around dating and relationships, certainly there should be a change when it comes to the upfront communication, just as you said, to get to the heart of the matter. Like sometimes it's like, let's not waste the time. And it doesn't have to be said in a way where I believe you can be congenial in a way when you're trying to convey a point and question someone without making it seem like a interrogation that's going to end very dismissively if you don't give the right answer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because most of the times when people are feeling that aggression, they're not going to give you what you want anyway. They're going to kind of be hands off if they feel like you pushing a little too much. But I think instead of being focused on where's the date going to be, where you taking me, it needs to be at a setting somewhere where you're both comfortable, but you can just kind of get into it. Throw those speed dating type of questions back and forth and get to the heart of the matter without, some of them, let's just be honest. Sometimes there are some things that if a person answers a question a certain way, you don't have to lead on to it right away, but in your mind, oh yeah, this is just not going to work.
Yeah.
And that'll save you the time and anguish, because most of the times I saw someone that said earlier, I think it was Trish, where she was talking about when I was describing how some of these things are happening, she said, that sounds like a hookup. Well, unfortunately, hookups are graduating to relationships. And that's where the toxicity is beginning, because we are hooking up first, and then we are trying to learn who someone is on the back end, right? And then it's like we are connecting the non-traditional way. It's like things, this is just our reality. What's happening now is I see you, I want you. That's the culture. I see you, I want you. It's happening, and it's the reason why I think it's growing in such a way, because the way we are being seen is a little less normal than what we would be seen in the real world. Online, we got all our best filters, our best angles. We can show you whichever still that we want, whichever video with music behind it. Makes somebody be like, oh man, your person can get off the gazy and all of that. And so that's going to heighten someone's interest in getting to you. They got their claws out. They're like, I need to get to this person. So that's why this is why the culture has changed to it's a carnivorous culture. The women and the men are being carnivorous. It's not just one side, it's just carnivorous, period. And I think a lot of that has to do with how we are dating. Go ahead.
No, so let me and I just had a thought in my mind. I'm not even gonna go to a whole lot of detail with this, but I remember that I went on a date one time. I went on a date, and you know how okay, you're on a dating website or whatever like that, and the person is looking a certain way or whatever like that. But when you meet the person face to face, you're like,
it's a different story.
You're not the same person. And it's here's the thing though. So you you got to play it off. You can't be like, oh, you are really. I mean, in my mind, I'm going, this is not the same chick. This is not the same chick. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you didn't have enough time to get ready, but this is not the same chick right here. And it's just crazy how sometimes we'll do all of this presentation, you know what I'm saying, in terms of how we look like online. But when it comes down to having a face-to-face meeting with somebody, we don't come anywhere near what our presentation online looks like. And it's like, wait a minute, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay, I just had to get that out.
No, that's what it is today. I mean, let's just call it, let's just be honest. And ladies, don't throw rocks at the screen. But anyway, listen, most of the times and I don't know if this will ever be a topic of conversation to talk about, but this is on both sides. But most of the times when women demask themselves, they look like entirely different people from when they put it together, right? Put on that, how they say, beat the face. They're like, they'll say, "Ooh, girl, you look beat." Beat means you got a good makeup. You did your makeup really good, right? So they'll tell the people they look beat or what have you. And in my mind, I'll be saying, and how beat does it look after? But anyway, but nevertheless, people will be thinking,
you know what, Charles? Oh God!
No, that's important because listen, let's just be honest. People just want to know, who am I dealing with at the core? So if you're a man, so if you're a woman, if the guy, you want to see him looking scraggly, rough, and okay, well, I know what he looks like at the core. He may look handsome in this day, but when he ain't got no hair, because his hair all over here, his beard hair all over, whatever. That's the reality.
Right.
But we know how to dress it up to get your attention, to hook you. We all know how to put it together, take the right angles, the right videos to get your attention. But does that speak to us picking people that are really like, because think about it, most women, if they're honest, and we're just talking about from the male side, most women are not going to demask. It's going to take a minute for you to even halfway see a demasking, and you got to probably be living with the person halfway of that. You're not going to see none. They're going to stay masked at all times, and so that leaves men to not know today who are you dealing with. And heck, today, let's just be honest. Somebody said it earlier about, we have different sexual preferences going on that really and if we're being honest, sometimes some of this beating of the face, it resembles beating of other genders. It really does.
Okay.
Some of it, I'm not saying all of it, some of it goes to the other side, some of it. But yeah, all right, I'll digress right now. But
so y'all know me. Y'all know me when it comes to stuff like this. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna keep on saying, I am so glad I'm married right now. I am so glad I don't have to deal with this quagmire of craziness and confusion. I am so glad.
But guess what, Adam? It is why but you know what? It's good, and you're absolutely right. But that is all the more reason why you have to spread that to help people.
True.
Like don't get me wrong. Marriage is great and it's honorable. But I feel like if people are blessed to have it, and if you have a quote unquote, if you have a, a formula. Now, maybe that formula may not work for everybody, right? Everybody is not going to have the same wife and husband dynamic. but those core principles can really help people. So that's why I believe, this is the thing that the man likes to do. It's good because it can help people.
But here's my point. My point with this is, and I'm gonna say this, and you can have it back, Charles. Listen. Understand.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to the beat face, okay, fine, absolutely, do your best. I want you to present your best. I'm going to present my best when we're going on a date. But if your best looks like a completely different person than who you are, then what are you presenting me with? This is my point.
A trend.
My thing is, if you look completely and entirely different than who you really are, then who you presented yourself as is something that's false. It's artificial. We're talking about a simulant now. We're talking about something that doesn't even match who you are. We're talking about a completely different person now. If the way you look online is totally, completely different than who you really are in person, then maybe you need to go to Hollywood and open up a special effects company, because I'm just saying, this is crazy, man.
But you know what it is, Adam? This is it's like real talk. The beat face phenomenon is a trend. It's not necessarily, and don't get me wrong, it's a trend that some people probably, like with everything, some people may take a little too far to the left.
Right.
Because I've seen situations where it can augment someone's already nice looks, right? It can already augment what you have. And in some cases, I've seen it do a complete transformation of what a person looks like, period. And you're just kind of like, okay. Right. So it's a slippery slope. Yeah. It's definitely a slippery slope. But I mean, even with men nowadays, you got men who are, you have men that are bald, legitimately bald. I see him at the I see men that are, listen, let me tell you, I go to the barber shop pretty much every week. There is a guy that I see comes in there around the time I do. He's he's a slightly older guy, but he's bald. But every time he comes in there, that man puts that, whatever it is, it's like a whole tarp over his head. Yeah. But he's got spray all on his head and everything. And I just be like, oh, that's a lot. Because it looks obviously like set. Like it looks like he's like one complexion in the hair is like just chalk black. It's like, all right, man, it's very obvious. Right. But I'm telling you, it's like that,
Trisha said, take your hair out, Charles. Trisha said, take your hair off. Take your hair out, Charles.
Fortunately blessed. Listen, Adam, I was fortunately blessed to have, my father had a real thick, full head of hair. So I think I inherited that.
Okay.
How about you, Trish? How about you, Trish? Anyway, take off yours, Trish. No. Right. Anyway, so here's the funny thing, though. Seriously, let's circle this back. All right. Okay. So let's start here.
Yeah.
These are some things I came up with that I think are some good steps to get to the heart of the matter. Like if you're going to go on a date, and you want to get to the heart of the matter, right? Yeah. they clowning.
They're going in, man. They are going in.
Look, you want to go on a date to get to this is crazy. Get to the heart of the matter. This is what I would suggest. All right, this is my perspective. This is four angles of you can cut to the chase.
Okay.
Number one, you want to check a person's moral pulse. That can probably save you the other three. The moral pulse. Okay, so with the moral pulse, like moral code, what's your moral code? So moral pulse is what I mean when I say that. You want to ask them, like, you want to find out what are they into, like, what type of religion they follow, what type of life causes, beliefs. Those are things you want to know up front, because those are commonality connection points. Either they're connection points or turn off points. You want to know that at the front. Then you want to know, like, okay, another part that's important. You can't assume you meet someone and that person isn't celibate or practicing abstinence. You need to find that out. And you
Right.
don't, and it doesn't need to be an offensive question to mean that if I answer this question to say, yes, I'm having sex, that means you and I are. It's just the person wants to know, is that your thing or not?
Right.
It's a reasonable grown person question, right?
Yeah.
To say, are you abstinent, you celibate, or you just holding yourself until the relationship presents itself right? Or if you're saying for spiritual reasons, I'm not doing X, Y, Z until I have a husband or wife. Those are reasonable questions to ask people.
Yeah.
No big deal there. Then the second one, you want to get to the facts. The facts are, who are you? You know, where do you come from? What's your family dynamic? And in the, you know, it's like a no judgment zone, right? But you just want to tell them it's no judgment. I'm just trying to align some truths. You just want to ask stuff like that, you know, because like I said on the post earlier that history's delicatessen is the best indicator of what's to be served for the present day dish. So that's why finding out those facts help you realize or not whether it's you want to stay on board. Two more left. The third one, the common ground. The common ground is, where do we connect? What points of interest do we connect at? Do we potentially align as a unit? Are we compatible? Those are things that you want to kind of find out to get to the bottom line. As many things you can try to find or discover that you guys may have in common places of interest. You want to travel to, food, you know, family dynamic, church, whatever other thing you do. You want to know if those things are in line or not. Last but not least, you want to know value. What's the it factor about them that will keep it? What is the it factor about them that will keep it, meaning that will keep that relationship blossoming? What's that thing you really, really, really like about this person that will keep you coming back? We're not talking about anything sexual. We're talking about personality-wise, or something they say, the way they kind of listen. They listen very patiently, or anything like that. You know, stuff like that. You want to know, you know, what about them interests you and makes you want to see it through? Or do you see value in that person's presence in your life? But I think if we talk about those four things when you meet people, so remember, number one, the moral pulse. Number two, the facts. Number three, the common ground. And number four, the value. If you get through that conversation when you go out on dates, or if you're on the phone before you get to the date, it can help you skip to the front or the back of the line. It'll help you say to yourself, yeah, no, this is not what I really want to do, or this is really piquing my interest. One or the other. But you want to, these are the things that save you before, because let's just be grown about it. In today's culture, we leave those questions out and we go out, we look nice, and we just want to make sure somebody looks like their picture, that we connect, we feel warm and fuzzy. Then after the fact, we start getting into things that can cloud and confuse our judgment going forward. And all of those four statuses get lost in time. And before you know it, you in the bed with a stranger.
Right.
So it's important to know.
Yeah, real talk. You know, I think I would add a couple of things to that list that you put out there. I think one of the things that's interesting, and this actually may have been already covered, but I just want to kind of bring a finer point to it. And that is, I think it's really important that you find somebody that you have chemistry with and that you're compatible with. Chemistry has to do with the fact that we vibe off each other for the most part. You know what I'm saying? That there's a good, you know, there's a good connection between the two of us. You know, we're laughing at the same jokes. We kind of have the same sense of humor, like you were saying, in terms of moral values. Our moral values are definitely aligned, or at least a similar. You know, it's funny. I remember when I first got to this area, I had met this woman online, and I remember having a conversation with her on the phone. And you know, I like to laugh. I'm a humorous guy. I love laughing. I love telling jokes or whatever like that. You know, and you know, usually if I meet somebody first off, you know, I'm going to be funny. I'm going to be telling jokes. I'm going to be doing everything I possibly can to make you laugh, because I think laughter is one of those things that can really draw you close to another person. And I'm doing my best, Charles. I'm doing my best, man. I'm shooting my best game, my best jokes or whatever like that. she is not laughing at anything that I say. She's not even laughing at me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, and so that was a clear indication to me, this probably is not going to work. You're not laughing, you're not cracking a smile. Right. What are we going to do for the rest of our days besides laugh? So if you can't, if your person is not laughing with you or not necessarily at you, but you guys are not sharing laughter to some degree, that's probably not your person. You know what I'm saying? It's probably not your person. So what?
Hold on, we got a call. We got a call coming in. Hold on. Oh, hey, Maria. The person that he's talking about, right?
I knew he's going to do that.
Lady that he's describing is the other woman. Thank you. All right. I told her that the lady you just described from online is the other lady. That's it.
But see, check this out. She already know about her. She know about her because I told her. I said, there was somebody that I dated before you that wasn't laughing at my jokes.
Oh, wow.
Didn't find anything funny. But between me and Maria, we laugh at everything. We are literally laughing at everything. We find everything funny. Okay,
that's
everything is a joke.
No, it's important. Yeah, it's important. It's important because laughter is an indicator that someone gets you.
Yes,
like it's an indicator that this person gets who I am, because no one wants to be serious and have serious direct conversations all the time. You want to be able to let your guard down, relax a little bit, or let your hair down, so to speak, and just be able to shoot the regular, and both of you all can just get each other's vernacular or jokes and laugh, and it'll be something comfortable. But like you said, it's very hard to be around someone who is extra serious and tense, and you sitting there like, look, I just want to relax and be easy. It's not that serious, right? So you're right. That can definitely be something.
Yeah, I just found that it was so like, ooh, I can't be myself with you because you won't let me be myself, because myself as I really am, I'm goofy. I'm silly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to laugh, and I want to laugh on a regular basis. Like you said, who wants to be serious all the time, 24/7?
All the time.
That's not the kid. I can't do that. Nobody wants to be serious. You know what I'm saying? No, I just think again that you have that chemistry, you have that compatibility. You guys kind of like some of the same things in terms of what direction you want to go in, or even this, that you are open to trying something different, something new, not nothing crazy, y'all. I'm not talking about nothing crazy. I'm just talking about some, maybe different foods or different experience. Now, look, y'all know what? I'm done.
That ain't fun. That ain't fun, man. We want something open to different stuff, dog. That ain't no. Oh God.
Lord have mercy.
All right, listen. Let's get into some factual information.
All right, let's go.
Number one, and we're talking about factual from the perspective of its collected data online by ways of Google. So it says, how many people are single? According to the U.S. Census Bureau, nearly 47% of the U.S. population, just over 117 million people, are currently single.
Wow.
It says 2023 data from the Pew Research Center finds that 1 in 10 Americans are single, and about 51% are open to either a committed relationship or casual dates. Over half men, 56%, are looking for either a committed relationship or a casual dates, and less than half of women, 44%, say the same thing. Then it says, what percentage of men and women are single? According to the 2023 survey, it says 32% of men reported being single, followed by 28% of women being single.
Wow.
Curious, interesting.
That's
so there's a lot of work to still be done.
I mean, absolutely.
Yes, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of work. Because again, we're not dating intentionally, but okay.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother story. So here's my angle. This is just my angle on the dating culture today.
Mm.
I would encourage anybody that's looking to get back on the market, put yourself on a dating app, be informed, because trust me, in today's world, people will mop the floor with you if you are coming in on the scene ignorant. And when I mean ignorant, I don't mean that as a insult, but I mean ignorant as in terms of you're lacking the knowledge needed to be successful.
Right.
Now, here's another angle. You can be as successful and learned as possible in the dating scene, but you got to consider we are dealing with people that are not serious, people that are playing, some people that are already married that's looking at the dating scene as extracurricular.
Right.
And then some people's intentions are not what they say. So a big part of being available on the dating scene is being wise. That's a huge part. Like, let's just say when, I would always joke when we would be over in Chicago in certain parts. Demetri, you all know what is Chicago folks at up in here. But anyway, we'll be over in Chicago and they always say, you better keep your head on swivel.
Right.
Saying, look, it's so crazy. You don't get complacent in whatever area you're in.
That's
always keep yourself open.
Yeah.
So it's the same way in dating. In dating today, look, you can get drove by on. They can do a drive-by, right?
Wow.
You drive by on you. You can get stood up, robbed. The whole nine can happen in the dating world.
Yeah.
So my point is, you gotta be like, don't dismiss it and say, I'm not doing none of that. I don't care about that. I just want this. And if the person's not going to do this, then so what? 9 times out of 10, you're going to be by yourself. Yeah. If you don't adapt to the way this world is today. You don't have to subscribe to what's happening, but you got to adapt your mind to what's happening, to be aware, to be able to deal with this stuff. Because this stuff out here is crazy. And so, it's a lot of scams going on. People, all these different countries, and it's you got the scam culture. That's number one. Now we talking about online. You got the scam culture going on. You got the nudity culture, the subscribe to OnlyFans culture. All of this stuff is polluting what people think should just be a normal display of people trying to meet someone. You got people who will fringe you, and you may think, the guy may think the lady is attractive, or the lady may think the guy's attractive. And as soon as the person may say, hi, are you? I'm just using you as an example, Fine 29. They may say, hi, Fine 29. She might be like, girl, this person is handsome. Then the next thing he's gonna say, have you ever did any Forex trading? You're like, oh. So anyway, you got all these people, people out here. They got all these angles. Everybody has angles or tricks. Somebody trying to take money. Listen, there is no such thing as getting anything for free. Nothing. There is no such thing as, you see all these ads out here now where they say, I can turn your $100 to $12,000. In what life? It's not going to happen. Man. People got all these scams and they use all these physical naked images to get you sold into something that's just pure suckertree. Period. So a lot of this stuff is just really, really being aware. Like, it's just plain and simple. It's like, listen, like if we do more listening and less gawking. See, we do a lot of gawking. You're looking at how fine somebody is. Oh, how curvaceous, how handsome. Look at their broad shoulders. You get lost in the gawking phase that you lose the common sense of what you need to listen for. Because if you are listening correctly, people will tell you exactly who they are immediately if you listen. But the problem is we just listening and we're like, oh my God, you don't got to say one more word. It's on, I'm going. So the point is we don't have to say nothing because we're so enamored with what we see. And so we get messed up. Before you know it, you got a whole mess on your hand. Because people are not only, long gone are the days of people just saying, well, girl, he just wanted some sex. No, it's more vicious than that. The sex is on the back end. They want what you work for. They want you out of your car. They want to run your credit up. They want you to do this. They want you to do that. Oh, can I come on? Can my son and my kids live at your house? It's a whole nother game. It's a whole nother day, and vice versa. The women are doing a reverse thing to the men. It's just, it's a different day and game. And to be honest, most of this stuff is being driven by need. People aren't dating out of desire to date. That means if you're saying I'm desiring to date, you're saying I think my life is in a pretty decent position to entertain someone. I may not be perfect, but I have my stuff in a pretty decent place to entertain. But where you go wrong is when you like, I ain't paid this rent in 2 months. I got to do this as condo too. Hey, go in there and get my red dress. Somebody gonna help on these bills. So now you're going out to meet a person just to satisfy a situation. So that's what is also being muddy in this world. Vice versa. Men are doing the same thing. You have men who need a place to stay. Yeah. Who don't have a car, but they present well. Right. So they have a whole situation. They got a whole record behind them, the whole thing, but they present well. So the woman, like in most cases, women will see some men sometimes and will say, oh, well, I can help him. No, you cannot. All you can do is further enable a grown man. Yeah. When men are grown, understand that when they have already formed who they are. So if they decide to change, it's on their own will and volition. So don't ever fool yourself into thinking you can change or correct a man's ways. His ways have to be done when he looks inward at himself and become disgusted and say, I need to make adjustments. But all he's going to do with you is allow you to exhaust yourself in trying. That's it. You can try all you like, but you're not going to change him. Make no mistake about it. So that's a key thing. I think when people are looking for you, got to be realistic with yourself and ask yourself, if you are the man, am I bringing something to the table that I think is attractive to someone else that would like to be in my life? And I'm not talking about somebody that's going to use you. I mean your personality, who you are. Am I presenting a likable version of me, and vice versa? Listen, I know everybody likes to look nice and look great, but let me just say this for the people on the back on the wall. If you, and this is on the ladies' side, this is especially for the women. If you present with curves, booty, hips, all the leg, I'm outside. Guess what? Being outside keeps you outside. Right. Period, point blank. When you outside and looking like you outside, it keeps you outside. It don't take it no further than that. Right. Because people see you, and guess what? I've seen women that I know personally that were decent people, but they conform to trying to compromise to the scene of availability. So they take on this outside persona. Yeah. And nothing changes because how men are wired is when we see what we like physically, we lock in on that. And when we see you present it that way, we assume that's how you are. Okay. We're not looking at the kindness of your heart and how good you take care of your children and what kind of job you got. We're looking at how do you show up. Yeah. And the way you show up, we're like, oh, so if she's willing to present herself to the world this way, what makes me any different? So I might as well follow suit and just go with it as I see it. Okay. And that's typically why a lot of these relationships end up the way that they are. And you find out how cocky a lot of these men are when they're starting to say, the men are so bold, they're bringing the women to the table. I was at a restaurant. I like to go and just dine sometimes and just feed myself. So I'm at this restaurant, Bruce. Check this out. I'm at this restaurant and I'm over in the corner minding my business. I see these two couple come over. They were coming over to eat. It was an African-American guy, and maybe the lady was maybe Puerto Rican or whatever. They were at the table. Then about 30 minutes later, another lady came over and she greeted the man first. So I thought maybe that's his sister, cousin, and she's going to have food with them. No, I'm ear hustling, of course, right? Of course. She wasn't a relative or nothing. You know who she was? She was the one that he wanted to present to his date to say, I told you she was fine. Wow. I told you she looked nice. Because he had the cocky gall to say, I'm bringing her here so you can look at her so we can both agree that we want her.
Wow.
And do you know what happened? They left before me. They ate their little food. They laughed. They were talking. The lady was touching each other's arm, and they left out. So the point I'm saying to you, this doesn't have to be, but it's only because people have gotten to a place where they allow for it. Women control all the power if they only looked at it that way. You don't have to be on nobody's team, right? Nobody's team. I mean, you have what the team owner wants. So why be on his team, right? Play at your terms. So the point is, it's just that until we correct this dynamic, it's going to continue to spiral out of control to become more and more dysfunctional.
Okay.
Yes.
Dude, so let me just, because it kind of
swinging. Sure.
Yeah. So let me just kind of chime in on what you just said, Charles. Let me just kind of segue into something that you guys are probably not wanting to hear me say, but I'm going to say it anyway because it bears being stated. And that is the fact that I believe we've come to a state in us, within ourselves, where we have become desperate. We have become desperate in terms of seeking what it is that we believe that we want. And understand that desperation in and of itself isn't always a bad thing, because desperation will, in some regard, will push you to do something about a situation that, that needs to change. And often that desperation can push you to a positive place. But what I have seen happen lately within the last 10, 15, 20, 25 years now is the fact that we have allowed our desperation to push us into places where we should not have gone, cause us to do things that we should not have done, having thoughts in our mind that we should not entertain, all because we are desperate. We are despairing. We have given up hope. We no longer want to try and strive to do better than where we are. We have allowed our desperation to manipulate us, to push us into places where we don't belong. We're just desperate. But that's all we are. We're just reaching and grabbing, trying to get as much as we possibly can get. Let me ask you this question. Let me ask y'all this question real quick. If you had to remain where you are, which is single, for the rest of your life, would you be happy? See, this is where we have to come to grips with the fact that even though I might not necessarily have what I want, I got enough satisfaction within my own soul. That's right. I came back off of vacation, y'all. I'm ready for you today. I have enough satisfaction within my own soul to be okay with me. So if I never find Sally, if I never find Steve, I'm good with me. And I'm not going to allow my desperation to put me in a place where I end up losing more than what I have. Somebody help me today. That's all I'm saying. Do not allow your desperation to put you in a dire predicament. That's all I'm trying to say, y'all.
So that desperate mindset is coming from the lack of hope, if we're just being honest.
That's what
the desperate mindset is.
Yeah,
it's coming from the lack of hope that we have allowed ourselves to lose. We've allowed, and see, if we back this thing all the way up to the core, most of the times, if we are honest with ourselves, we lost hope due to some bad decisions we made. We chose some wrong characters in our past, people that we've even married, dated, whomever. We've made these decisions. And these experiences that came from these decisions have depleted us when it comes to hope. And as a result of that, now it's like we just looking to say, well, I don't want to be alone.
Right.
He or she is only offering this, but it's something. It's better than being alone. You got to understand that loneliness concept is a powerful thing. And people resort to being desperate because they do not want to sit in company with self. That's the bottom line. A lot of people cannot deal with being alone, looking at themselves, being content, not being desperate, but just being content with yourself. They get antsy. They're looking for other person in their life to hurry up and, oh, we ain't supposed to be alone. We supposed to be this, but guess what? We're also supposed to be content with self first.
That's right.
I'm not going to be any good to you if I'm not content with self first. I'm not going to be able to be an available band-aid to you every time you're lonely.
Yeah.
You got to learn to sit with, sup with self, deal with self, and stop using this dysfunctional basis of using the relationship as a leverage to get what you want and need, and just love you a little bit. That's what makes the relationship beautiful, is when two people love each other first. That's not when somebody needs somebody really bad.
Right.
That doesn't help anything.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to get to that point where we, when we're looking for these people that we're quote unquote looking for. Don't get me wrong. I understand the desperate concept, the loneliness concept, but you got to be able to at some point count the cost and say, if I resort to being desperate, what do I stand to lose?
Exactly.
In my life, because in most cases when we're desperate, we end up choosing people that don't have anything to lose and come in and wipe your life out.
Yeah.
You got everything to live for. They just opportunistic. Right. You're being desperate, lowering your standards. Oh, I think I'll give him a chance. We'll see. I'll take her and this. And when you know at the core of it, this person does not work well with your life.
Yeah.
You know it. You know it don't work with your life. And so we just got to be honest with ourselves and stop taking these plea deals and dealing with these things to satisfy that whole loneliness component and that desperation factor. Yeah. And no, there is no time in life that's worse than the holiday season.
Oh, yeah.
People go on clearance of October. From October to January 15th, there is a sale on people. Make no mistake about it. Everybody becomes people that are not in relationships or in relationships that are not that productive. People become 70% off.
Wow.
Marked down. And when we all know when it's marked down, that area of the store looks different. The tags are red. There's a sign over it, 50 to 70% off. Right. People automatically go over there. And a lot of times you may find a good deal. You might find something that you was looking for all along, cheap. But let's just be honest. Do we always appreciate things cheap that we had not had to work for?
Right.
Or pay a hefty price for? Do we? In most cases, we don't. Yeah. We when it's cheap, we treat it just like it's sold cheap.
Yeah.
And we put it in the back of the closet.
Yeah. So or basically, Charles, don't let your desperation discount you. You know you go to the store, they discounted the price, and so our desperation has made us less than what we're actually worth. You got to recognize what your worth is. You have to realize that you're worth more than what your desperation is telling you, even to the point where you have to say within yourself, I am willing not to be with anybody, even if it means I got to be with me by myself. And you know what's funny? So moving up here really put me in that place. I had to confront myself and and realize that if I don't meet anybody else, I got to be good with me. I got to be so good with me that I know that I'm not going to settle for anything less than what I am worth. And that goes to every man that's listening. That goes to every woman that's listening. Do not settle for what you are worth. Okay? You're worth more.
Do not settle for what less than what you're worth. You meant what you're less than what you're worth.
Less than what you're worth.
Less than what you're worth. Yeah. I mean, that's it. And so, and then I would also tell people, listen, I know everybody has their own higher powers that they ascribe to. But honestly, if you're going to listen, this is my take. If you're going to ascribe to anything, then fleece that thing. Whatever that thing you ascribe to, fleece it for what you need, right? So if you are a Christian and if you believe in faith in God, then guess what? You ask God to bring about a person that's authentically for your life, a person that's authentic, that will mean you well and that will add value to your life.
Okay.
Tell him to filter out the decoys, the tricksters, the liars, the deceivers, filter those things out and bring you. But the thing that we all forget a lot of times is we go to asking this Christmas list, this whole list of what we want our person. I mean, our I guess that higher power that we're believing in to bring us. But it starts with yourself. And a lot of times before you go to asking for something, you got to clean out self. We made mistakes. We messed up. We made bad decisions. Bring those things to the table. And the way I grew up, we called it repentance, right? So you bring that repentance to the table, clean that slate out. Then you go to asking for what you need. And then you stand back and let God bring into your life that person. Right, that's going to work well with you. But if you out here being busy with your own hands, doing what you think you know is best for your life, make no mistake about it, you're going to end up with a whole lot of experiences and bad stories because you did not take things the correct way.
Yeah, true that.
Do things right.
True that.
Oh, Bruce says, what if the woman don't know what she's worth but thinks she does? Now this is a twister. What if the woman doesn't know what she's worth? Now this is a relative question because it becomes a matter of let's just bounce off of this, Bruce. Lady X is saying because Bruce looks at things at a different level. He's looking at things and saying, "Oh, I can, you're a nice lady, but definitely you might need some work in this department from what I can see." She's going to be offended. I'm great the way I am. What do you mean? You just trying to, here we go, control me, right? That's the first thing they're going to say. But at the end of the day, I think if a person is not where you feel they need to be worthwise, then as a man, if you are concerned about being interested in this person or moving forward with them in any kind of way, then you have to do those things to, what do you call them when it's a thing that I see, prune. I love this. I love when I see the monkeys, the little animal shows where the monkeys are pruning one another. That's how the man has to do to the woman. Prune her to be to the place where she can see who she really is. Because a lot of times, most of the times, we are met with people who don't see themselves as they should. In most cases, rarely, yes, that's the perfect word, cultivate. Rarely do we run into people that come to the table in great condition straight out the box. Most of them, we have to follow some instructions and make some examples. We got to encourage them, all of those things. And that's, women will do it to men will do it to women. The kicker is being open enough and humble enough to receive from one another. The problem you have is when someone is so egotistical and high-minded that they don't think they have any issues. That's when you got a problem.
Right. No, that's good. I'm glad you said that because I was going to say it before you got to it. I was definitely going to say, I think one of the keys in terms of being able to be, or rather having somebody assess your value and tell you what they believe your value is being open to them and being humble enough to receive what they have to say. I think often we just want to do what we want to do because we believe that we can do it, not realizing that there might be some deficiency within us. Well, if my wife tells me that I have a deficiency in a particular area, as a husband, I have to be humble enough and submitted enough, guys, to have open ears to be able to listen and hear what she's saying and not get offended at what she's saying. Because a lot of times when somebody comes at me with something or comes at us with something, we want to get offended. But the reality is they want to help us, not hurt us. And so I have to be humble enough and submitted enough to have open ears to listen to what they're saying, knowing that they don't mean me harm, but they actually mean me good. They're trying to help me, just like I'm trying to help them in the same way.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's like, we have to take this thing and just like you said, we gotta look at this thing for what it is. And when we find ourselves in these situations, be open to having those difficult conversations. If it's something that you're not understanding or if you're feeling like a person is handling you a particular way that you don't care for, say it. There's ways to say it without it being a conflict.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
you can say things without it being a conflict and get things to where it needs to be before it gets, out of control. I think nowadays we speak from places of damage. And I think we have to be understanding of this one fact. There is no such thing as a phenomenal woman that has been untouched emotionally, or a great man that has been untouched emotionally. They're great. If they're great, everyone in their past has saw them that way. Some had good intentions, some had bad. So I'm saying that to say most times we intercept people in our lives that come to us to some degree broken. So there is going to be some work required at any time we look at. There is no such thing as a out of the box turnkey person.
No.
Most of the times we inherit people in our life that's going to require pruning on the part of us both. Because it's just a part of life. No one is perfect.
No,
but so anyway, people, Bruce said we need to do a live dinner conversation. That's right, Bruce, right there at the National Harbor. We're announcing it right now, Washington, D.C. Bruce, we're gonna let you host us, and we'll pick the restaurant, Bruce, and we will come to the National Harbor. All right. Anyway,
that's so funny.
You guys for tuning in today, and welcoming Mr. Ford back from his illustrious vacation over in yonder. Maybe he'll tell us about his details at some other time. But anyway, appreciate you guys. He'll tell us what really happened over there in the Dominican. No, I'm just teasing. But anyway,
we had a good time. I'm trying to go back.
I bet. All right. All right. Well, anyway, we'll definitely see you guys next. Let's see. Wait a minute. Next Thursday. Next Thursday. Next Thursday, same time. Same back channel. We'll, as usual, put the topics out for the following week, and we'll just continue to move this train along. All right. Now, so people are being nosy at them. Somebody got art behind you. No.
That's my what is it called? I forgot what the name of it is. Somebody tell me what the name of it is. I know what the name of it is. When you go to
the picture art. The picture art where they take they draw you and stuff.
Yeah. I had another one from years ago. But I don't even know where it is, but that was actually from maybe 2 years ago.
All right. Thanks everybody. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in and appreciate the love.
Caricature. Bruce got it.
They got it. He was 529 on point. They come with all the answers. That's it. Appreciate y'all today for tuning in. And we'll definitely, as usual, we will see you guys next week. Much love, and we are out. Thank you.
Peace, family. Love y'all.